What is up, Commanders, and isn't this a beauty? Well, it's more of a horror story than anything else. Frank here, the Red Tie Guy, and welcome to a quick review of the Art of Xcom 2. I bought this about a week ago, and I scanned through this. There's a few spoilers in here, so when I go through this, a fair warning: if you haven't played XCOM 2 and you don't want anything spoiled, then do not watch this video, go play the game and come back and check this video later. This is a hardcover art book, and one thing about art books that I like in general, I'm an animator and I do love seeing how games came together, the ideas that they have, what they had in the beginning and what came in the final game. Now this art book cost me around 700 South African rands, which is about 45 US dollars, and you can see that at the top it is 39.99 US dollars, and I'll leave a link in the description below to Amazon UK and Amazon US, as well as the South African store which I bought it from, if you want to buy this art book. And I really recommend that you go check out this art book. But if you aren't sure, then keep sticking around and watch this video, then you can decide for yourself. Now obviously in the beginning you can see here's a newly designed sectoid. It's a lot scarier than the previous sectoid. I really did think that the previous sectoid was more of a cartoon-like character, but this one is quite scary. Here you can see it's still fairly new, the book. Here you can see the Advent soldier scanning all the civilians. These bastards won the war, but only for now. The Art of Xcom 2 Inside Edition. Here you can see all the chapters. It is 161 pages, just over 161 pages. So it is a fairly big book, not one of those small art books that you get with games these days. I do like this screen in particular because these are the new loading screens. They do look nice, they are nicely textured, and it just shows the Advent soldier with civilians, I'm assuming, with this strange writing. If you know what's written here, then please tell me. Introduction. Really nice designs, the buildings. Remember, this is about 20 years later than XCOM Enemy Within, so some of the stuff is a bit more advanced and a little bit differently designed. Pre-visualization. As I said, as an animator and a designer, I do like to see these concept designs, to see what they started with and what came in the final game. And it's interesting to note that the pre-visualization team at Firaxis Games began working on the XCOM sequel shortly after the expansion of Enemy Unknown. So pretty much right after Enemy Within, they started working on the sequel already. And it's been about 3-4 years, I'd say, more or less in the making. So, you know, it's been a long process, and it's always interesting to see the making of this stuff. I find this stuff very, very interesting, as I said multiple times already. And it's just interesting, all these little notes that they said, like here they say we had to learn to work with the grid rather than against it by using 3D tools. The grid really helped us with the design of the futuristic city center, but it was harder to work with it for our rural environments because they had to look haphazard in the wilderness. So it's always nice to see the technical problems that they came up with while they designed these cities, these locations, these weapons and aliens. But the city designs in XCOM 2 does remind me a lot of XCOM Apocalypse. I believe it came out in 1996, 1997. One of my favorite XCOM games, XCOM Apocalypse. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It is cheap on Steam right now. This looks like a torture chamber, some sort of Advent torture chamber. Obviously here's just a dummy unit, a dummy 3D model put in to see the size of the torture chamber. I would not want to be stuck in this torture chamber. It looks pretty brutal, to be honest. Here's a few character models. They really have stepped up the graphics for XCOM 2 in comparison to XCOM Enemy Within. You can really see the detail on the character models. As I said, I'm not going to go through each page because there are some spoilers here. And I mean, I haven't finished the game myself, so I do wish to keep some of the stuff a little bit of a secret, but I cannot resist looking through art book as soon as I get my hands on it. The new armor design is really nicely done, and it really gives that feel of, you know, the future tech in a way. As I said, it is 20 years later, 20 years after Enemy Within, and a lot has changed. This unit is very interesting. The what do they call it here? I'm trying to think now what they call it. The Andromedon. It reminds me of a very like a old-fashioned sci-fi movie with the, you know, how they always predicted how robots or spacesuits will be. Very interesting design. I do like this green goo stuff here and how it just runs out. It's almost give me a feel of a Big Daddy from Bioshock. And here of course is the 3D model. I'm definitely going to try and model this in Maya or Max. Use that as a reference. Now here's one of my favorite and worst aliens of XCOM Enemy Within, the Sectoid. One of the only aliens that have made it onto the sequel. The reason I like this alien so much is because of its design. It reminds me a lot of the Starship Trooper alien, a 1997 movie, very good, one of my favorite movies of all time. But I hate spiders. I have a massive fear of spiders, and when I see this thing running towards my soldiers, I just get those hairs standing on my neck and I just want to freak out a little bit, especially if they just come out of the shadows out of nowhere, killing all my soldiers. This is the new updated Berserker, I believe, the Muton Berserker. Now it looks pretty mean, especially if it's, you know, its mouth is closed here, but when it's open it reminds me a lot of Predator. And here is what happens when you get in its way. It just lays the smackdown on you and gives you a backbreaker alongside a rock bottom and a chokeslam, and you do not want to get in this way, seriously. Now moving on to some of the environments, one of my favorite aspects, because I do like working with the Unreal Engine and I do like creating levels. As I said, all these reading is very interesting if you take the time to just appreciate all the effort that the artists put into the making of these games. You just enjoy playing the games so much more. This gives me a little bit of a Japanese feel, which is quite nice. I've never been to Japan, I would love to go though. And here is the, what do they call this again? I forgot, the Elders from the first game. You know, one of the main enemies of the first game. This is the Elders, and here you can see, I assume this is a human, and the way it controls its mind, telling the human, you know, it's fine to worship the aliens, that the aliens are their gods, and that's essentially the main theme of XCOM 2 when you start. You know, the aliens have won the war, and for some reason about 85 to 90% of the civilization have accepted the aliens and like almost worship them, because these are statues that spread across the whole game, and the aliens have some sort of mind control over the humans. These are some logos throughout the game and some posters. Really nice design. It reminds me a little bit of Destiny, but I'm a big Destiny fan and I do enjoy this cityscape, this landscape portrait. I do wish I could have bought these posters and framed them. That would have looked really awesome on the walls. Here is just a couple of loading screens, very nicely done. And here's some of the futuristic cars. It does remind me a lot of Tron Legacy and the original Tron. I do hope they do make a third movie, but I doubt that's going to happen. But the light cycle, this especially reminds me of the light cycle with the light and especially from the side. And here's just another map of the Advent soldiers, the Advent troopers. I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker because this is a lot of pages. This is going to be a very long video if I go through each one of them slowly. This looks like some sort of revitalized chamber or something of some sorts. Here you can see just the propaganda that they use, the Advent use, or the aliens use with the Advent soldiers. Here's some more environments. If at any moment you want to watch this in detail, then just pause the video and go straight ahead. As I said, this art book is worth the money. If you're into game design, or if you're an artist, or if you just love games overall and you want to collect stuff like this, then go right ahead and purchase this item, because it is a very nice collector's item, especially if you're a big XCOM fan. I'm just going to skip a couple of pages here because I don't want to show all of it. You know, if you do want to buy this book, then I'm sure you want some surprises. This is a very awesome drawing. It reminds me a little bit of The Last of Us, with the abandoned area and the forest growing over. Skip ahead here. This is a very nice design. This reminds me of Alien, the original Alien concept drawings with the alien chamber here, and then when the alien is against the wall. I forgot the author, Jigger. Hit me over the head now. I forgot his name. One of my favorite artists, actually. May he rest in peace. But this is very inspired by his work. As you can see here as well, it reminds me a lot of Alien. The look and feel here. If you can imagine all the alien eggs that's here, you have that feel of Alien. Skip ahead here to some of the aliens, actually talking about Alien. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, the sectoid in XCOM Enemy Within had a bit of a cartoon-like feel to him. It wasn't very scary, but this one in particular, I mean, if I see something like this, I will scream like a girl and run for my life. They say here, one of the first things game players may notice about XCOM 2 is that the aliens are much more terrifying and powerful than before. Now, as I said, they are terrifying, and you can just see that the sectoid here is just strong and intelligent compared to the other one, which kind of looks like an idiot. You just want to kick him over, and when you see them, you're just like, oh, not more. They're just irritating. Especially here with his mouth open. That grin is. Look at this. This reminds me a little bit of Signs as well, and Signs was terrifying. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite alien horror movies, spoilers, of all time. Here's just that other, the Andromedon, more concept of it. And here is a flying unit. I'm pretty sure this replaces the enemy within, that flying berserker, not the flying berserker, but that flying muton. Pretty similar looking, but it just has those Stargate looking wings at the back, and when this thing attacks you, damn, do they do a lot of damage. You want to kill this thing as soon as possible. Here is just another berserker, pretty powerful. The concept does look a lot like the final 3D model, which is very nice. I'm gonna skip ahead here to the Viper. The Viper is a very interesting character, essentially the Thin Man from Enemy Within, because she's just a pain. I'm sure you guys have seen the videos where she sticks her tongue out, grabs the soldier, wraps around the soldier, and then she also shoots, but she barely misses with the gun. Very annoying alien. Now this is one of the more end-level aliens, I believe. And not much is known of this alien aside from that it's powerful. The Advent. They're pretty much everywhere in the game. A bit annoying, but essentially the mind-controlled humans. I don't want to spoil anything about how they were created or how they look like, but in the beginning of the game, you do see, more or less in the beginning of the game, you do find out how they look like without their helmet and why they are the way they are, I guess. I do like the designs. It really does remind me of Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt with their suits. I do like, oh well, here kind of spoils it a little bit. As I said, this video does contain spoilers, so this is essentially how the Advent looks like without their helmet. Pretty scary, to be honest, because here you think they look human. When it goes off, then you see this face and you're like, whoa, that's kind of terrifying. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of pages again to Bradford. This is the main character of the game. Almost say the main character you play as, but the main character of the game, Officer Bradford, from the first game, 20 years later. He has gone through a lot of stuff, so expect some changes in his personality. This is Chief Engineer Lily Shen, Dr. Shen from Amy Within, his daughter. I'm not going to say what happens to Dr. Shen, that's for you to find out, but this is his daughter. She's essentially takes his role as an engineer. Very awesome character. She has a lot of personality. Some soldiers of the game, very nicely detailed, as I said. And then if you go on, this suit looks a lot like the one from the one that I just mentioned from Age of Tomorrow. Very powerful suit. And if you go on to a few pages, you'll find the weapon technology and effects, also very interesting. I do love designing stuff like this, so this is a art book that I'll be referring to a lot. I'm already on page 165 and there's still more to go. A very nice artwork of the Avenger, your main ship that you use. Or is this, no, this is not the Avenger, this is one of the carriers, I believe, that your troops go in. So this is basically the transport that takes your units to the mission. And then if you continue, you go to some of the weapons. Very nice detailed. A lot of work has gone into this. And this is very interesting. This reminds me of like a typical Stargate kind of look. Very interesting. One of the snipers. More weapons. The ghost thingy that comes with your specialist. And then at the back, a very nice... Whoop, don't want to tear this book. Very nice rendition of... I forgot the name now. Kind of went over my head there. But very nice artwork. And that is the last page. It goes up to page 192. And then that is it. So, as I said, I highly recommend you guys check out this art book. It is very nicely detailed, hardcover, and it retails for $39 US, and you can find the links in the description below. So if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down, but please tell me why so I can improve my videos. My name is Frank, I'm the Red Tie Guy, and frankly, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.
Don't forget to click that subscribe button, Commanders, and remember, we will be watching.